Welcome back to our office.
Thank you.
Last how many years you was in Canada?
I have been in Canada for the last 5 years.
Okay, I would love to understand your experience in Canada because that will motivate my clients. They will get a very good insight about life in Canada. So what is your experience into this field?
For the first thing you're saying is, let's say talking about health. Health-wise, Canada has free medical. Nowhere in the world you get free medical, which is including cancer, including all the things. It is unbelievable. Absolutely free.
Right.
And that is one thing.
Right.
Second thing is Canada encourages and promotes family relations.
Very good.
If you have, let's say you have your wife, they encourage you to have kids, so that they can get free. You can whatever savings for the child's education is all tax free. They have such wonderful provisions.
Even for a working woman, if she is working and there is a child, she gets a lot of benefits.
She gets leave, maternity leave, and the husband also gets leave. It is unbelievable.
That is again a really good thing.
It is so fantastic.
And what about, unfortunately, if you lose your job?
If you lose your job, if you have till, let's say I have worked 2 or 3 years as a full-time employee in a company, and I lose my job, my tax which has gone to the government starts giving me enough money so that I can support myself. It is about $500 to $1,000. They will give it to me, and I can support till I get my next job. This is so everywhere where you think from a family perspective, their first priority, the government's priority is family. So it is so encouraging for a family to settle down, buy the place there. That is one thing. I have been staying in Toronto for so many years. Toronto is a second India.
Okay.
You get everything, even if you might not get things in Pune, I'll be able to get that in Toronto.
Okay.
Because of all the different cultures from everywhere they are coming, it is such a wonderful place.
Now see, Toronto, there are having people from more than 100 countries.
Correct.
In your workplace also you must have noticed there are people from Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Philippines. Now how you are interacting with them? Are you finding it difficult to interact?
No, it is, I will say it is probably the best experience I've been having, to understand such different cultures, to share your culture with them, and to let people be aware of what you have here, what they have there, and to bring everything in front of the table. And then they feel people might have had wrong ideas, might have some misconceptions, but when you tell them things that you really know, that no, these things are the way these are, it's such wonderful sharing. And maybe you have some misconception about, let's say, China, and then they share their things. So many cultures which come together. So it's wonderful.
Right, means we are having some kind of a notion that Chinese are like this, Pakistanis are like that, but all these myths and all these misconceptions.
Yes, for example, I will give you an example, that I am a musician, I am also a saxophone player.
Right.
In Toronto, there are hundreds and hundreds of people who have come from Pakistan. Each and every Pakistani person, when he stays in his basement, he has a music room. And every weekend, they get all the people together and have a ghazal night. And such beautiful music and ghazals and all, and they say, oh, we want to live that tradition, which people are losing maybe in Pakistan. They want to continue there in Toronto. So it is such a wonderful thing to.
And what about our Indian people, our Maharashtrian people? What kind of?
In Toronto, there are so many Maharashtrians, so many people from here, from Pune, from Nagpur, from Bombay, who come. We have our own Maharashtra Mandal. We celebrate Diwali, Ganesh Ji.
Right.
and we have pujaris also.
Okay. Yeah.
And in Toronto,
Temples also.
every say let's say every kilometer there is one temple.
Okay.
So many temples, and Toronto is basically a very cultural.
Now, I want to ask you some important question. Now, see, when in India, you have stayed in India for most of your life also.
Correct.
Indians, we are having typical mentality, you know.
Correct.
Now, all these bad habits,
Correct.
when our Indians are migrating
Correct.
in a country like Canada,
Correct.
staying in a beautiful place like Toronto,
Correct.
are they carrying all these things with them, or they behave as per their rules and regulations?
When they come there, they maybe I will say, let's say they take maybe a little bit of time to understand their culture and this one, but once they do, they are completely changed. They respect all this one, and also you have to slowly start adjusting also to their. For example, from the first, when you have to pay the rent on the first, you have to pay it on the first.
Right.
There is no option.
Right.
So these things slowly, even the culture also makes them change little bit, and they also adapt.
Culture is one thing, and another important thing is the rules and regulations.
Regulations, correct.
Now, see, I am also a Canadian PR holder. I have given my driving test. Unfortunately, I have failed. I have not touched the vehicle. But
Correct.
in India,
Correct.
what happens?
Correct.
Nobody is bothered.
Correct.
And the driving test was such a beautiful. Welcome to our office.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome to our office also. Last more than 4 years he was in Canada.
Yes.
In particular in the Alberta region, isn't it?
Yes.
So I'm really happy to welcome you. I'm having some questions. These questions are for the benefit of my future migrants. Okay. I remember that when you started your process, you're almost 40. And when you got the visa, you crossed 40 also, isn't it? So, going to Canada at this age, and now last 4 years you have experienced Canadian life.
Yeah.
That is remarkable.
Yeah.
Normally in this migration process, most of the clients are in the age group of say around 28 to 32. Okay. Quite a few clients approach me, they are already crossed 40 or reached 40, or they are having maybe 42, 43, 45 also.
Yeah.
They are always wondering, shall we start?
That's
Okay,
correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you some questions now. Let's begin from your own experience. So please tell me your experience.
I would say it is more of a positive attitude and how you want to adapt the change. Age is just a number.
Correct.
So if you are really looking forward to get into a new lifestyle, see that how your future generations and people are going to live that life, I think any age you can start.
Right. And importantly, work-life balance.
Yeah, actually I would really recommend if you're looking for a work-life balance. I find that though here also we are starting now looking for work-life balance, but it is just still on papers or just we talk. It has not been adapted or it is not implemented in the life.
Right.
But there we are seeing it, we live it every day. So they actually not are only talking but actually providing that to their employees.
Right, because there is hardly any population, and Canada is a huge country. There are so many beautiful things.
Yeah.
And again, whatever food you are eating, that is absolutely good quality.
Yeah.
Wherever you are going for vacationing,
Yeah.
wonderful places, isn't it?
Yes. And they actually impose that that when you are getting vacations, they look at it that you take vacation. If the year is ending towards and they see that one of their employees not taken vacation, they will tell that no, you need to go, get refreshed, because it is very essential. It adds a lot of value. When you go for vacation, when you come back, your productivity increases.
Yeah, that is a really good point. Remarkable point. Okay, now, Alisa,
Haji, sir.
what will you add?
I would say my wife is a strength, and most probably I was a little skeptical, but looking at her positivity, that gave me a lot of strength, and I'm really happy that we took the decision.
Right. You are not regretting your decision.
Absolutely not.
Right.
No.
And in last 4 years times you have seen Canada, you have met so many people, you must have made wonderful friends also.
That's correct. People from different parts of the world.
Right. So what will be your message to those who are planning to migrate?
Canada opens and welcomes immigrants with open arms. Age is not a problem, and there may be initial teething problem, but not to fear. A lot of Indians, a lot of help is available. Palwe sir is there, and as I said, once you get into it, things will start rolling on its own. You will not come to know that you will come to Canada and it has been 4.5 years.
But still, I always tell my client that be prepared for some kind of an initial struggle. That is absolutely important.
Yes, I would just add to it that, don't compare things. Once you start comparing, you will look only at the negative side, and that will make you, you will start, that, okay, this is not something which I am looking forward, or this is not something which I was expecting. Instead of that, just take it as a package, and once you get into that lifestyle, then you will start realizing that how much positivity is there, how much good part of it is there, and then you will start feeling that good that you never compared it.
Right. And be prepared for reskilling.
Yes, that's
rediscovering, reskilling, relearning.
Yeah.
Don't be whatever you are doing in India. So you should not be thinking that I was in India and I had done so many things, and with those things I survive in India. So with the same things I'll be surviving in Canada.
Yeah.
You should not have that kind of an attitude.
That is something which I would say that you should never think of that. Okay, I was at a manager level, or I was a AVP, I was a VP level, and I'm going to get the same thing. We have to see that we are coming, even when we change a city in India itself, we know that we don't get the same thing. You might have to step down to grow up. So always take a back step when you want to go fast ahead, like how a runner does.
Right. That is true.
I was from a commerce background. I've never think of becoming an engineer, and now I'm a power engineer, third-class power engineer. And I was wondering that I made a mistake in India. If I would have taken engineering, I would have been very successful.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. So I'm really happy that you are sharing your experience with you. I'm wishing you all the best.
Thank you very much. Thanks for your time.
Coming to
And
our
I would
office.
say you've been very helpful throughout the
Thanks to
process.
you.
Thank you so
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so
Most
much.
welcome to office. Last 1 year you was in Canada.
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
I would like to ask you some questions.
Definitely.
You got your PR visa because of this Nova Scotia
Yes.
PNP program.
Yes, sir.
Initially you stayed in Halifax.
Yes, sir.
How was your stay in Halifax?
The stay was good in Halifax. We enjoyed a lot. And the atmosphere was also good.
Hmm.
But we landed in winter, so it was a little difficult to adjust there. From
About that winter, I would like to ask you, that was your first winter, and Nova Scotia is notorious about harsh weather.
Yes.
How you cope with that weather?
we took some precautions like jacket from here,
Hmm.
and later landing next day we took the local clothes there. That's mandatory to take there. The Indian clothes doesn't adjust there.
Right.
Yeah.
And this thing, how you find local population in Nova Scotia? Very cooperative. There are people from different countries.
We have met many people over there. They are many from Iran and overseas, and they are very helpful. We met one taxi driver there, and he helped us to do all the works locally there.
Right.
He is a person who helped us to
And he's
guide.
our best friend now.
Yeah, he helped us to guide from where you can buy a good grocery in a reasonable rate.
Right.
We have got a mattress. He helped us, which is the best place to buy a mattress on a reasonable rate. So he's the kind of person who helped us to settle our house. Basically the basic things, whatever is required for house.
Yeah.
He took us to service our
Yeah.
telephone, medical, and we got all those things
Done in one day.
done in one day, single day.
Great. So people are cooperative.
Very
Very
helpful.
cooperative.
That is
Yes.
important. Now then you shifted to Toronto.
Yes.
And your job started in Toronto also.
Yes.
How is your experience in Toronto?
If we have to compare Toronto with Halifax, I'm not saying it's bad, but people are not that great as compared to Halifax. Out there, when you ask someone in Halifax, if you have someone where is this place, or you ask them for a guidance, they will give you a smile, and with that they will help you.
Right.
But in Toronto, people are, I understand because it's a fast moving city and people have no time to help you. So over there you generally need to use your phone with the mobile data and put the destination and go. So it is not as good as Halifax. Halifax is pretty good,
Yeah.
pretty good.
Toronto is a little complicated as well
Right.
in ways of transportation also.
And again, the important thing is from saving point of view.
Saving point of view, definitely, because if you have to take an apartment on the lease basis in Halifax, it will charge you approximately like $950 a month plus the electricity and the laundry. And whereas in Toronto, it is definitely on a higher range, because 1 BHK apartment in Toronto will cost you 1,300 Canadian
nowadays
dollars.
Toronto is becoming very, very costly.
Yes, that's true.
Right. Now, what kind of support you got from Canadian government?
From Canadian government in Halifax, I mean, we were not much in touch with them, but when we moved to Toronto, we came to know that there is an agency which is called as a Seva agency run by the government of Canada. They provide the foodstuffs, which is like without paying anything, free of cost, because if you're not coming under certain, paychecks or certain amount
it's
of
basically
money
a
that you
food
get.
bank. And second, we got in touch with that. We have filed our returns, and then we got our HST and GST filed.
Yes.
That is again a very good thing.
Yes, that we got it returned back from in our bank account.
Refund. That is
Yes.
refund payment. That is
Yes.
really surprising that you are receiving checks from
Yes.
Canadian government. We are not used to in India.
That's true, and the amount was $725
That's
that,
really good.
that we know about.
We are also getting from province as well as from
The
Canadian
federal.
government.
Right.
So
That
both.
is really a good thing.
Yes.
Even you are having a very good allowance for the first time buyers, new migrants, when they are buying a property. You get a very good discount also.
Yeah, they are coming up with that, sir. But when we have opened an account, the bank account in Halifax with the Royal Bank of Canada, RBC, they had given us the account which is like free of charge for 6 months, because we are the new immigrants, and that was the new coming up event for RBC. So they have provided us a bank account with a credit card. The limit is $1,000 for both of us, like individual cards. And the experience with RBC people in Halifax was pretty good. They guide you properly, thoroughly, each and everything they explain you. They don't hide anything. Like after 6 months, what are the charges going to be? If you use your checkbooks, what are the cost is going to be? So in that matter, compared to any other country, I personally feel that it's a good experience working there and getting in touch with people.
People are really honest, transparent, and rule of law.
That's true. There's nothing hidden, no hidden.
Yeah, that is really important.
Yes.
So what will be your message to the new migrants who are planning to land in, say, in January and February? Because not many of my clients are waiting to just come over this after this Nata, after this Christmas. They are planning to go. What will be your message?
Only request to the people who are planning to move in this year end or maybe starting of next year, if they are two of them, like husband wife, they can move, because I mean, we people can at least bear the wind or the winter. But if they have kids, then they need to be very, very sure that they should carry like some medicines which is essential for the cold, cough, fever, because once you land there, jet lag is there, which affects you the most. Most of them don't carry pickles or masalas, just carry woolen clothes with you. Carry dry fruits, because initially when you land, you cannot spend in Canadian dollars. So carry some dry fruits, carry some food which gives you warm. So that's the must. And carry lot of socks with you, the woolen socks, and shoes. If you get
hand gloves also?
Yes, definitely, sir. And if you are landing in Halifax, you need to be sure, because once you are outside the airport, it's like, oh, gone. So just be prepared for that.
It is a blast of cold.
Yes, because
my daughter is staying in that area only now.
Okay, because when we landed on December 6th, it was not snowy, but the wind, oh my
Change
God.
of climate is so
It's
drastic.
like it's going to throw you out of the road itself.
But it is again, looking back, it is a great fun.
Yes. Right.
Thanks for visiting our office.
Thank you so much,
Welcome
sir. Thank you.
again, and when I'll be in Toronto, we'll be having a cup of coffee.
Definitely, Tim
Tim
Hortons.
French vanilla.
Hello! Today I'm going to show you how you can survive winter in Canada, starting with a few tips. Tip number 1, maybe don't walk like this in a light sweater. Eventually you can, but to begin with, you should get a winter jacket. I'd recommend that you get one when you arrive in Canada, because there's going to be a huge difference in quality and length too. The one that I'm wearing is until here, but you do get winter jackets that go down until here. The second thing that you should get is a hat. Now, a hat is essential because the snow, if you're walking without a hat, collects on your head and your head. And if when you go inside a warm building, it melts. And when it melts, it gets your hair wet and you can get a headache. So I'd recommend get yourself a hat. It's definitely an essential. Tip number 3, get yourself a scarf. Now, a scarf is also another essential because it keeps your neck warm and your chest warm. And both of those are key to keeping your body temperature at an average normal temperature. Tip number 4, get yourself mittens. Now, mittens are way better than gloves when you're walking in the snow because they don't separate your fingers, they keep them together, and that keeps the heat of your fingers together. So definitely get mittens. And the last thing is get yourself really long boots. Sport shoes will not work because they'll just get wet. So make sure the ones that you get are water resistant and obviously snow resistant. And make sure that you wear warm socks inside these shoes because that's equally important. And with all of this, you're ready to survive winter in Canada.
Manoj, welcome to our office.
Yes, Mr. Palwe.
You are coming back to us after say more than 4 years.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. Now last 4 years, more than 4 years, you was in Canada, working in catering field as a chef.
Yes.
I would like to share your experience for the benefit of my audience.
Oh, it's been a very good experience. It's been a little tough in the beginning to start, to get used to the practices over there and to get used to the different cultures and more so the weather. I think you will meet people, you'll get along with them, but trying to understand and get used to the weather, it becomes difficult when to dress and how to dress. Because we are not used to minus 20, minus 25, so it becomes, that is a difficult part. But apart from that, I think you always have to give one winter in Canada. You give one winter, after that life becomes easy.
Right, yes. You get used to that.
Used to that.
Now you went to Canada as a migrant. What was your aim? To earn money, to have a good work-life balance.
Yes.
And third thing is to have a calm and peaceful life.
Absolutely.
Now, what is your experience on these 3 fronts?
I think on all 3 fronts, it has been a successful thing. It is the work-life balance and the quality of life over there is far better. I have never felt the need to own a car. I can walk. I've been lucky that I've lived in smaller places where I could walk easily everywhere or take a taxi or public transport. Never had a problem. Never felt the need to take a car. So in a way it's good. And the money is there. If you know, anywhere you go, if you spend too much, you won't be able to save.
Right.
But this is a place where you can have a nice life and save.
Yeah, basically you need to have a prudent lifestyle.
Yes.
So you can have a good savings.
Yes, you can save and you can. It is still affordable where you can buy whatever you want and still have a good, decent lifestyle without having to cut corners.
Right.
So on that front, I think.
Now you have traveled all over Canada.
Yes.
I would like to know your opinion about in your field, this cooking and chefs and this thing, which is now most promising area of Canada.
The main cities will always be bustling. Vancouver and Toronto and Calgary will always be evergreen.
Right.
But if you want to have a really good quality of life and make sure that your money goes a long way, I think Atlantic Canada will be the best option. Because in terms of value for money, like average house in Toronto is 7 times your average salary. In Vancouver, in Halifax or Atlantic Canada, you'll probably get it for even less than your average salary for a year. Or
that is a huge difference.
Yes. You can get a really good house for about $150,000 compared to about $700,000, $800,000, $900,000 in Vancouver or Toronto.
That makes sense.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And the people are nice. They're more welcoming over there.
Right.
And it's not such a developed part of Canada, so it's.
Yeah, that's a good, because I'm also focusing on Atlantic Canada. I'm having my base in Halifax. As I told you, my daughter is there. Now, tell me something remarkable which you are experiencing in Canada, which is really heart-touching.
It was good fun because I went to work for a new company and we were opening a restaurant and all the licenses were cleared off in 5 days.
5 days?
So yes, from the time we applied for the license to actually starting the restaurant, from Monday morning to Friday evening 4:30, all the licenses, everything was cleared, and we opened at 5:30 on Friday evening for the first service.
That is most remarkable.
Yes, and that everything, police clearance, fire brigade, food license, alcohol license, everything was cleared off in those 5 days. It was unheard of.
That's really, really remarkable.
Yes.
It's really nice, Amol. You have visited our office and you are sharing your experience.
My
It's
pleasure.
a good news that you are getting married also. We'll give our best of services for your spouse to get her visa as early as possible. Once again, I am congratulating you.
Thank you very
and
much.
I keep visiting Canada. Next time,
Yes.
we'll be meeting in that at least
In Atlantic Canada. Yes, you should come down to the restaurant where I'll be working.
Yeah. Thank
Yes,
you.
my pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you.